Okay, good evening everybody and welcome to this monthly meeting of Redruth Town Council's full council. And we'd like to move to item 1 on the agenda, which is to confirm members can communicate with others at the meeting and to receive apologies for absence.
Right, going round everybody. Councillor Barnes, are you there? No, Councillor Barnes. Mrs. Biscoe?
Apologies, Councillor Barnes is in the meeting. He is on mute though.
Councillor Barnes, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you very much. Mrs. Biscoe?
Yes, can see and hear.
Councillor Biscoe?
I have vision and sound.
Councillor Bishop? Councillor Broad?
Yes.
Councillor Brown?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes,
Mrs. Ellenbrook?
I can see and hear.
Councillor Garrick?
Saying here, yes.
Councillor Page?
Yes.
Councillor Reeve?
Yes, I can see and hear.
Councillor Thomas?
Good evening, loud and clear.
Thank you. Councillor Tregunner's obviously sent apologies, and Councillor Tremaine.
Yep, I'm here.
Thank you. That's it, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Item 2, members to declare any disclosable pecuniary interests or non-registrable interests, including details thereof in respect of any items on this agenda.
Shouldn't be any.
There should be any. No. I don't believe we have any members of the public wishing to speak, so we can dispense with items 3, 4 and 5. And we move to item 6, which is to deal with local police issues. And I'm very pleased to welcome John Thorne to the meeting. So over to you, John.
Okay, yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, yeah. There's no, talking specifically about Redruth at the moment, there's no, we've obviously had the problem with the homeless chap in living at the top of Higher 4th Street there, but I think that's been resolved again, and he's back in accommodation at Eastbourne Road. So with some slightly more support around him, so hopefully he'll remain where he is and not end up back on the street in Redruth. The town's been generally very quiet over the last few weeks. There's been some minor COVID breaches, but nothing major. I think, am I right in thinking that there are marshals in the town centre at the moment?
Yeah,
I haven't crossed paths. I haven't crossed paths with any of them. I think there was some suggestion that they were encountering some antisocial behaviour linked to some school pupils, possibly linked to Redruth School. I think that was probably a one-off incident. I happened to be in the town with a colleague on the same day, and we spoke with a group of youths. They weren't causing any problems. If anything, they were probably just a little bit boisterous. They were doing some skating in the town centre off of the miners' statue, but they were spoken to and they moved away. Crescent Kerno has been very quiet, although we've had a report overnight last night. There was a group of youngsters down there throwing some of the waste material around there in the area of the statues. So it's my intention once I finish here this evening to go down to Crescent Kerno and take a look. But generally, there's not, unless you're going to tell me any different, there's not any major issues in the town centre at the moment that I'm aware of. I think that will change as lockdown eases over the coming weeks. But at the moment, most people are complying, and there might be the odd problem, but there's nothing causing us any significant issues.
Yeah, the COVID marshals or Kestrel guards or whatever we're going to call them have been submitting reports of all of their activities, and I would say that the antisocial behaviour that we were witnessing was prior to this third lockdown. So it was what was happening over the Christmas period, just before, just after. But that has significantly decreased now. The most recent reports I've seen don't have any incidents in there. the only thing I can say anecdotally is that some of the larger housing estates have mentioned that there are young people hanging around there, so possibly it might be worth checking those areas.
Yeah, I do walk around Close Hill and Montague and all around those areas. I mean, we check the parks and the communal areas. I've not, when I've been on late shifts, I've not personally seen anything. I did come across 3 youngsters in the town centre this evening, and they had some words of advice and they went home. I think if you live there on the estate, you're probably going to see the odd little bit of association, but I don't think it's anything that is of a major concern, although I accept probably at times there probably is some congregation going on that maybe didn't ought to, but not in any great numbers. And as I say, when I walk through in the evenings, and I will go again through this evening, I'm likely, most evenings, I'm lucky, I'm actually somebody walking their dog. I've certainly seen nobody in the park or the recreation areas.
I've got Councillor Biscoe with his hand up. You unmute, Henry.
Yeah, okay, yeah, got it. Very fortuitous that you're here, John. In the last 2 minutes, I've just received on my laptop an invitation to have a coronavirus injection, whereas last time I looked, I think I was number 17,569,000th. But allegedly the NHS has sent me an invitation to do it, and you click forward to the next screen. It asks me for my credit card details and debit card details, which I don't think I'm going to give them. So I think we have there's a bit of a scam going on there.
Stick that one in your spam folder.
Sorry?
Stick that one in your spam folder.
I still didn't hear that.
Spam folder.
Spam folder.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think there's been a few of these scams doing the rounds. I think Cornwall Council put out some information about how to deal with them. What I think, if you could ask the Community Projects Manager, Peter, to look out the information again and get her to circulate it on social media, because obviously it's an ongoing issue.
Yeah, the best advice is just delete it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
The other thing is,
No, I'd give them my credit card details because they might send me an injection over the phone or something.
People are getting emails inviting them to give banking details so that they can get rather large refunds from HMRC. So you're going to see a few of those type emails pounding around as well.
Yeah. Charlotte's just messaged me and said she can resend that information. So if you could, Charlotte, please, that would be really helpful. Okay, thank you. I've got Councillor Mrs Davidson.
Just to say quickly that actual scam that Henry's had was featured on television tonight, particularly that one. So it's obviously on the rounds.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Locally policing wise, we won't do anything with that because the chances are the person sat behind the computer sending that email may not even be based in the UK.
Yeah, very likely. Councillor Garrick. You're probably on mute, Colin.
I do apologise, councillors, for doing that. Yes, I had a similar email today as well, and I actually phoned the surgery up just to get verification whether it was a scam or not. I didn't actually click on the response, but actually there have been quite a few flying around. That's manor surgery.
Yeah. Councillor Broad.
Yeah, I'd just like to speak to the police officer. Would he be able to do anything to add weight to the problem at Nettles Hill with the double yellow lines? I know we're waiting for Council and Cormac to do the double yellows, but will they be able to add pressure and say that there's an accident waiting to happen and add a bit of weight to the problem?
Yeah, so my colleague, who's one of the beat managers, Sarah Chewern, has had quite a large impact with it. I don't think the police are going to be able to apply any pressure. I think they will do it as promptly as they can. I think probably the current circumstances are not allowing it to be done as quickly as they can. But the police have already put quite a lot of pressure on. We have been leaving messages on cars parked on the hill. But I think really it's a decision for it's a county highways decision as to when they manage those lines going in. I don't think anything that the police will do will expedite that. But I've been told that they're imminent. I think my colleague had a email from Peter Barnes the other day about the same subject.
Okay, thanks very much. That's right, lovely.
Yeah, the initial markings have already been put onto the pavement there that shows where they're going to be going. So it's just clearly a matter of waiting. Councillor Ellenbrook.
Yeah, that is indeed the case. I chased it up a couple of weeks ago, and I forwarded the response to Councillor Barnes and also to Councillor Thomas, and I thought I'd forwarded it to the town clerk. If I didn't, I apologise. But basically, it is at the top of their list. But unfortunately, with the weather either being very wet or very cold, they can't paint until such time as those are solutions. However, nobody needs to park there for free, because you can park for free in the Cornwall Council car parks at the moment. You know, so it's just people being inconsiderate as normal, I'm afraid.
Yeah, sadly, it's not stopping them. It was mentioned to me when I was in a shop earlier today that they were still parking there, even though the car park is currently free. Councillor Tremaine. Will, did you want to say something?
I thought I'd click the mic off and I'd click my hand down instead. So apologies for that. It's quite opportune that the police officers here, because in a previous meeting we were discussing a parking issue actually on Albany Road, and I think the solution we'd come up with was largely a police issue rather than a council issue. We have at least one individual who is parking on Albany Road and causing an obstruction, which has been raised to us by a couple of residents of Albany Road.
Whereabouts are we talking about on Albany Road?
The very corner of Albany Lane. It's a vehicle that parks on the, you got the inlaid parking bays there. This particular car, although there are a couple, but this particular car likes to park actually on the bit of the pavement that sticks out. I can't think of a technical term for it, but it's right on the junction.
They're like protected parking spaces, aren't they?
Yeah, it is.
Do we know any description of the car?
Yeah, it's a black SUV Audi.
Okay. So the position with parking on the pavement is it can be an offence, but it must be an obstruction of the highway.
He's not actually parking on the pavement, he's parking on the road, but obstructing the road by parking.
Causing an obstruction of the junction. Causing an obstruction of the junction?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take a look at that one. I'm on late shift for the next 3 evenings, so I'll take a look.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
Councillor Thomas.
Thank you. Councillor Tremaine's dealt with one of the points I was going to make. Bear in mind we had an officer here, and of course they're very welcome, if not infrequent. The other point really was about I've forgotten now. Bugger me.
So I know the feeling.
No, it's gone out of my head. I'll have to come back to it. Thanks.
Does anybody else have any questions for John?
No, Ian, you can always drop me an email because I won't be here once we finish this bit. So drop me an email if it comes back to you.
Okay, I don't think there's anything else there, John. I'd just like to say thank you very much for taking the time to come. It's always good to have somebody present to answer questions. Just to let you know that the police liaison meeting that was meant to be scheduled for this month has been postponed due to the current acting inspector being seconded elsewhere. I'm not quite sure what the situation is with that, but I do understand, I think. Oh, Pete, want to say something?
I was just going to say the situation re the current inspector, if you recall, I think it was at the last meeting, I said it was going to be Chloe Youngs. It is now Sophie Curtis who's taking over from the end of this month, but she's actually off self-isolating at the moment with COVID.
Okay. If my memory serves me correctly, were the 3 Cornwall councillors not having a meeting about this? I seem to remember it being mentioned. Barbara. Sorry, Ian, is that a new hand or an old hand?
It's a new hand, but not answer that question.
I can answer it if you want me to.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we did indeed meet with quite a few people about both the antisocial behaviour and the policing issues. We made our feelings very clear to the inspector. I think he might even be a chief inspector who was there. Is it Ian?
Thompson.
Yeah.
Ian Thompson.
Ian Thompson.
Yeah. Well, Charlotte was there as well, of course, and basically reminded him that we have had a plethora of inspectors, all for very good reasons. Don't have a problem with that, but you know, there's no continuity, and it makes it really, really difficult for us to have any continuity when that sort of thing happens. So he has said that it is just circumstances, but I think the message was certainly received loud and clear.
I couldn't agree with you more, Barbara.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you know, you get, each inspector seems to have their own kind of thing that they're particularly interested in or concerned about, and it must be awfully difficult for the people who are working with boots on the ground to be told, you know, this is your priority, and then the next minute it's a completely different priority. And apparently the Joe Shields is coming back in sometime in the summer.
So Joe Shields has gone to Trelawney, which is the G7 summit.
Ah, I did wonder.
Right. So that's going to be quite disruptive. To go to priorities, okay, so priorities are set at a strategic level. So the inspectors are just, and obviously to a certain extent, set by things like police liaison group. So the priorities shouldn't change, but I would agree with you wholeheartedly that there needs to be a little bit of continuity, and it would be nice to have a sector inspector that was in place for years as opposed to months.
Yes, quite agree.
Yeah, and that was the message that was heard loud and clear, I hope.
Yeah, priorities will change little. They're set at a higher level and dictated to, as I say, by a certain extent by things like the police liaison group.
Thank you. Councillor Thomas.
Yeah, apologies. I can't see John's face very well, so I didn't actually hear or see what he said about Joe Shields. So, firstly, Can you
hear now, Ian?
Sorry?
Can you hear now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So Joe Shields has gone to a thing called Op Trelawney, which is the G7 at St Ives that's taking place.
Okay.
And
yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, thank you, John. And just, Chair, it was about the parking on Nettles Hill. And Barbara picked up the point about Cornwall Council free parking in the car parks. But of course, it's not very well advertised out on the street. So those miscreants who are parking on Nettles Hill probably think they're saving a bob or two. So my question is, I wonder if Councillor Barnes could either put pressure on Cornwall Council or someone else to put up a notice which says, don't park on the road and cause an obstruction, park in the car parks. It's currently free. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. You're free to go now, John, I think.
Okay, thank you. Stay safe, everyone.
Yes, and you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7 is to receive reports from the Cornwall Council ward members on their work within the Redruth parish. We didn't have any reports submitted prior to the meeting, so I'm just going to double check whether any of them want to say anything. Councillor Ellenbrook?
No, I mean, no, there's nothing vital, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Barnes?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay, I can't see any of you, and the clock is showing me at the meeting's been running for 59 minutes, nearly 60 minutes. I've been dealing with a gentleman in Redruth, trying to help him get some grant money because of his dire financial circumstances, and I'm going to go down to see him for the third time, hopefully tomorrow. Depends on how things go. I've had a Cornwall Council meeting last Tuesday, and I've also last Thursday had a Redruth Community Centre meeting, and we're going to be going to I'm going to be going to a meeting on the 2nd of next month when they're talking about 106 monies, because I'm going to be trying to get some money to do up the main hall in the community centre, which is now in quite a state. I am lucky that we've got a local chap called Simon Johns from Premiership, which is a building firm, and he's offered to project manage any monies that we can raise to try and do up the main part of the building. But there's a lot of work that needs doing, starting with the roof and the pointing. So it's quite a busy time ahead, and I got another customer scrutiny meeting tomorrow, which promises to be so much fun. Can any of you see me?
We can all see you, I do believe.
I can't see any of you. None at all.
At least we can hear you. That's the main thing, Stephen.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. No, nothing more than routine Cornwall Council and committee meetings, really. Okay. So all virtual stuff. Just wish we could actually shake hands and touch each other's flesh in a sensible and reasonable way, of course.
Okay, noted. Has anybody got any questions for our Cornwall councillors? No? Okay, so moving on to receive a report from the Community Link Officer, Charlotte Caldwell. Report attached, and Charlotte is here, so over to you, Charlotte.
Thank you very much. More than happy, obviously, to take any questions on my report, but just a few additional things as usual to add. And first of all, good evening, everybody. And a big thank you to Stephen for helping that gentleman who I passed him on to Stephen. So that's really, I'm grateful to you, Stephen, for all the work you've been doing with him. Couple of things, really. We're planning through the CPIR Place Shaping Board, and we will be holding a meeting of that again very soon. But myself and Matthew Brown are working up a plan to get a project really together called the CPIR Expo. There was an expo done in Penzance in St John's Hall a few years ago, and there was ministers came from London. Lots of different projects were highlighted on big screens and billboards that were transport projects, education projects, housing, economic development, and we're looking to try and do a similar thing across the whole of CPIR. So I will be bringing a more up-to-date kind of detail on that once we've got that nailed down, and we've got that through the obviously with the support of the Place Shaping Board and all the councillors. Secondly, last week I met with the new director of Crowdgy, Fiona Wotton, who's taken over from Ross Williams, and she's very keen to collaborate once we're able to with the Youth Cafe, but also with Citizenship for Life. So I will keep you posted on that, and she's very keen to become a member of the Redruth Youth Forum, which we've recently established as well. So again, I'll keep you up to date on that, but that was a very positive meeting. And finally, talk of the estates earlier in the town, just in case you've missed it on one of my daily updates, Cornwall Neighbourhoods for Change, I've set up this new food delivery service called MAGA, which apparently in Cornish means to nourish, and they're doing food deliveries on some of the estates in and around Redruth town. So just so you're aware of that. That's it really, folks. More than happy to answer any questions you may have, but thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Has anybody got any questions for Charlotte? No, okay. Could you just hold on whilst we move on?
Councillor Thomas has a question, Mayor.
Okay, Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. I just wonder if Charlotte could add to a list for the Expo a museum for Redruth Town Centre. Thank you.
It could only be you, Ian, of course.
Has anybody got any other items for Charlotte? I've got one thing, Charlotte, that I want to bring up under my report, which I want to ask you. So if you can just hold on for 2 seconds while we do that, that would be great. Thank you. So item 9 is to receive the Town Mayor's announcements. You've all had my report. I just want to add one thing. Since the report was sent out last week, I've been working with the Community Projects Manager in conjunction with Cambourne and Redruth District Lions Club and the Chamber of Commerce to offer a laptop refurbishment scheme for local schools. We've just put out the first lot of information about this, asking local people if they've got redundant pieces of technology that they no longer have a need for. Local businessmen in Redruth is prepared to do the making sure they're secure and safe, wiping hard drives, restoring them to factory settings and all of that sort of thing, and then getting them out to the local schools that need them. We've been in touch with the primary schools in Redruth and with Redruth Secondary School, all of whom would be very grateful for any laptops that you might have that you're currently not using. So if it's sat on a shelf somewhere gathering some dust, then please get in touch with Dave or with myself or with any of the other people that are involved in the scheme, and we will be very happy to take them off your hands. I have actually communicated this to Rose Hitchins-Todd at Cambourne Town Council and asked her to also get involved with the same thing. But I was just hoping that Charlotte might be able to push this out to the other parishes around.
Of course, yes, if you sent me a briefing. In fact, Rose briefed me about it this morning on a phone call, so I suspected you'd be mentioning it tonight. So yes,
Brilliant.
Send me that out and I can get that out to everybody and try and encourage the clerks to get involved as well.
Brilliant, that's fabulous. Thank you very much. Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. I just wondered if there's a minimum age or RAM or whatever the technical word is that is required.
So what has been said is that the ideal specification would be Windows 7 or above, so 7, 8, 9, 10, which is the most ideal scenario. But if you do have an old laptop that you think is older than that, don't be dissuaded from sending it in, because they could very well be able to use it for spare parts, for fixing other machines. The Lions Club have offered to pay for any actual repairs that need to be done to any laptops. So Exact IT are going to do all the work for free, but if they need to pay out for any bits and pieces, then the Lions Club are going to cover the cost of that. So yeah, I mean, if you've got something that's ancient, please let us have it anyway, and we'll just see what we can do with it. What he will do is, if you've got an old laptop which maybe have some photographs on it or something, or documents that you're either unable to retrieve or you want to make sure that you keep, he'll download those onto a memory stick for you, so that you've got all that information before he wipes the laptop clean. So you can, it's a way of actually making some space in your house of, potentially some stuff that you don't want anymore, but you can rest assured that actually all your things will be taken off of it first. Okay, Councillor Thomas again. Sorry, you're on mute, Ian. Ian, you're muted, thank you. There you go. No, you've muted it again.
Hopefully I'm back now.
Yep, that's it.
Does it extend to tablets as well, or is it just laptops?
And it will take tablets as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Has anybody got any other questions? If not, thank you, Charlotte. Feel free to go now if that's okay. Or by all means,
got my tea. Thanks very much. Nice to see you all.
Thank
you. Soon.
Okay. And item 10. To confirm the minutes of 10.1, the monthly meeting of the council held on the 21st of December 2020. Councillor Thomas. you moving? No, he's got his hand
Yes,
down.
Chair.
You're moving, thank you. Councillor Garrick, are you seconding?
I have indeed, yes.
Thank you. Would you like to go round, please, Pete?
Certainly will. Councillor Barnes. Councillor Barnes, you're muted.
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Biscoe.
Yes.
Councillor Biscoe.
For.
Councillor Broad.
Yes.
Councillor Brown.
For, and sorry, quick point of order, Councillor Thomas, you've accidentally shared your screen.
As that must happen. Councillor Mrs. Davidson.
Easily done.
Yes.
Mrs. Ellenbrook.
For.
Councillor Garrick seconded, so he's for. Councillor Page.
Yes.
Councillor Reeve.
For.
Councillor Thomas has moved it. Councillor Trigona wasn't there. Councillor Tremaine.
For.
Thank you. Can Councillor Thomas please unshare his screen?
Somebody
It's
give me
the
a clue
button
how to do that.
you
then.
see in.
All I've got is your lovely faces.
Yes, you're sharing your screen. If you click on the button to the right side of the mute, that should stop it, because it's all we can see is you sharing us.
How's that?
Thank you.
Beautiful. Sorry.
Excellent training, Matthew. Thank you.
Okay, item 11 is to receive the town clerk's report.
You've all got my report. Just a couple of very quick items. The town ambassador COVID marshals, which I know the mayor's already touched on briefly during the police police item on the agenda, but following the review by Cornwall Council, these are going to continue to have a visibility in the town centre during the present lockdown. There was some question over funding, but they are continuing, as we all know. And the budget precept for financial year 2021-22, I notified Cornwall Council of our requirements by the deadline and have received an acknowledgement. That's it, Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Nobody got any questions there? No. Item 12 to receive correspondence.
There's no correspondence, Chair.
Thank you. Item 13 is to receive the minutes as reports of the following committee meetings and to accept and approve the recommendations and resolutions contained within. Of 13.1, the Amenities Committee of the 11th of January 2021. Councillor Brown is moving. Somebody like to second that? Councillor Davidson, thank you. Did you want to go round, Peter?
I'll go around very quickly. Councillor Barnes.
For.
Mrs. Biscoe.
For.
Mr. Biscoe.
For.
Bishop's not here. Broad.
For.
Councillor Brown move. Councillor Mrs. Davidson second. Mrs. Ellenbrook.
For.
Councillor Garrick.
For.
Councillor Page.
For.
Councillor Reeve.
For.
Councillor Thomas.
For.
And Councillor Tremaine.
For.
Thank you. That's carried unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, item 14, to formulate the Town Council response to the consultation on the Cornwall Council Climate Emergency Development Plan document proposed draft, renewable energy and sustainable construction policies. This is carried over from the Amenities Committee. And as you may recall, I let you know that the CPIR Climate Change Group will be discussing this. Their meeting isn't until tomorrow evening, so unfortunately I'm not able to share with you their full response at this point in time. So we just need to make a decision about how we're going to move forward. I assume that Councillor Mrs. Biscoe is did you want to speak on this, or is this your hand left over from before?
It's left over.
Thank you.
I'll put it down if it decides to.
Okay, thank you. I've got Councillor Bishop. Did you want to speak, Andy?
Yeah, just to say I am here. I turned up a bit late. I think I got stuck in the same meeting what Stephen Barnes was in, because I'm in two different meetings by the looks of it.
Oh, okay.
It's still got that one that's still on hold, but so I am here.
Right, okay. I'm not quite sure what that's about. Maybe it's last time's meeting that you've accidentally joined.
Yeah.
So if nobody has got any particular thing that they want to bring up to be included in this response, we've got two ways forward. We can support the CPIR response, or we can formulate our own. I'm happy to do that in conjunction with the clerk if that suits everybody, unless anybody's got any other things they want to add. No, okay, so what we'll do then, we'll wait for the CPIR meeting tomorrow, and I'll let you know what they all say. We'll formulate a response and circulate it to everybody. Councillor Thomas.
No, I was just going to say, Chair, that I think the more the merrier, to be honest, and even if it's a duplication in terms of the Town Council's response, I think it would be worth it. Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree. I've already had sight of Lanham Parish Council's response. It's quite short, but it's to the point. And I think at the very least we need to do something along similar lines. But the closing date, I think, is the 5th of February. So we'll make sure that we circulate it to everybody before we send it off to Cornwall Council. OK, thank you. Item 15 is to receive and approve the schedule of accounts. Anybody got any questions? No? Somebody like to move it then, please? Councillor Brown, seconded by...
I was going to give Councillor Barnes the opportunity, but he doesn't seem too keen this evening.
I'm trying to see how many versions of this meeting I can join.
Fair enough. So I've got Councillor Brown is moving, Councillor Davidson is seconding, and do you want to go round, Pete?
Yes, please, Councillor Barnes.
For...
If only to hear that. Councillor and Mrs Biscoe.
For.
Mr Biscoe.
For.
Bishop.
For.
Broad.
For.
Councillor Brown's move. Mrs Davidson second. Councillor Mrs Allenbrook.
For.
Councillor Garrick.
For.
Councillor Page.
For.
Councillor Reeve.
For.
Councillor Thomas.
For.
And Councillor Tremaine.
3.
Thank you. That's carried unanimously, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, and I declare the meeting at an end.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.